And for more, welcome in CBS Sports bracketologist Jerry Palm, and back here with CBS Sports senior writer Matt Norlander, here to talk winners and losers. Jerry, we start with you. Who helped their tournament resume the most on this Saturday?
I think it has to be Vanderbilt, who beat Mizzou, came back to beat them at home. They've been very good on their home floor, but they did win at Texas A&M, I believe. Anyways, that's their 5th quad 1 win. They've built up a decent record now. I think I'm comfortable taking Vanderbilt off the bubble. I had 5 SEC bubble teams, and they've been the highest of them and the one in the least danger. But now I think Vanderbilt, if they don't go completely sideways, is going to be safely in the tournament.
You know, I'm going to go with Iowa State. It had a no doubt about it win, wire to wire at home over Arizona. You know, Keyshawn Gilbert came back, wasn't a huge factor in the game, but 84-67 over the 22nd ranked Wildcats. How about this? I was at the only game this season that Iowa State lost when it was at full strength, and it just so happened to be the Auburn Tigers in Maui. And Iowa State actually held a 17-point lead and then subsequently blew that 17-point lead against Bruce Pearl's Tigers out there in Maui at the end of November. But other than that, yeah, there's been some disappointing losses here and there, but that's the only time Iowa State has been beaten with every good, healthy player available. It had been more than a month. If you'd have to actually go back to mid-January, the last time that Iowa State beat a projected NCAA tournament team, that was Kansas. And then finally, they get off the schneid. They get a good home win, no doubt about it. Good for the vibes for the Cyclones, taking care of business against Tommy Lloyd's Wildcats, and reminding us why they should still be considered a viable Final Four threat.
Starting to get healthy at the perfect time here on the first day of March. Iowa State 15-1 at home this season. As for who disappointed you the most, Jerry, who's your biggest loser here on this first Saturday in March?
Oh, it's definitely got to be Texas. I mean, Texas was a no-show at home against Georgia in a game they desperately had to have. In fact, both of these teams desperately had to have it. Only one of them played like they desperately had to have it. And that's now 2 no-shows in 3 games for Texas. And I don't know how they're going to make the tournament at this point, because they have gone so far bad. They're going to have to win games that, you know, in the conference tournament, maybe multiple games in the conference tournament, just to get a good enough record and resume and record against good teams to be considered for this thing now. So, yeah, Texas has just been baffling in not just losing, but losing how they did to South Carolina and Georgia.
Yeah, well, I've got another SEC team that had a putrid performance, also a huge loser, no doubt about it. Arkansas 72-53, a loss on the road to a South Carolina team that had 1 win in SEC play coming into the day. The SEC is a loaded league. We understand that. You got to have teams that finish 15th and 16th in a 16-team league. But goodness, Arkansas, bubble supreme kind of team, and allowed Colin Murray-Boyles to put up the kind of tape that could ensure he gets taken in the lottery. That has been the one bright spot for South Carolina this season. Colin Murray-Boyles has been just an incredible two-way player. Where is the urgency, John Calipari and the Razorbacks? Now, they've got time to make it up. Time is running out. We've only got 1 more week / 2 more games in the regular season until the SEC tournament. So all hope is not lost for Arkansas, but it was stunning to see just how poorly they play. I mean, the first half was borderline setting anemic offensive records ever for a Calipari coach team. For Arkansas in a number of decades, I was stunned by just how poorly they looked in what needed to be a game of much more urgency, Hakeem.
Entered the day as an 11 seed, according to Jerry, and not helping their case, certainly with a massive loss on the road. 15 days until Selection Sunday. Jerry, Tennessee fighting to get on the 1 line, beat Alabama at the buzzer. What did that win mean for the Volunteers?
Yeah, what a comeback in a short span there. 4 points down very late in that game. For Tennessee, it means that they will be a 1 seed in the bracket I post tomorrow. They'll move up. Alabama will move down. Houston will move up a spot. So Tennessee will actually be 4th overall. Houston will be 3rd. Alabama will be 5th. And I expect more shuffling to go on among that group of teams, because you've got Auburn number 1. You've got Florida right behind it, number 6. So, yeah, it's I don't think we're done with shuffling the deck with these SEC teams in particular. But at least for now, Tennessee is back on the top line, where they started at one point in my brackets.
Yeah, and thanks to Tennessee's win and Auburn's road win at Kentucky, the Tigers clinched the outright SEC title. Jerry, with 16 quad 1 wins, did Auburn lock up the overall #1 seed on this day?
Yeah, I don't see how Duke passes them, just because Duke doesn't have the schedule. I mean, Duke beat them, So, they've got that going for them. But all Duke can do is just beat the crap out of whoever happens to be in front of them, just to show that they're still that much better than everybody else in their league. But yeah, they just can't put together a resume in the ACC this year that threatens Auburn's record.
Yeah, 16 quad one wins, 6 more than the next closest team being Tennessee and Alabama. They locked it up, according to Jerry. I would have to agree. Time now for Norlander's notes. Matt, what do you have for us?
Well, just a few things from the day on Saturday. Jerry had mentioned that Texas was among the biggest losers. Hard to argue with that. Let's look forward here, because Rodney Terry's future at Texas very much in doubt. In checking with sources this week, and really as the season has gone along here, the understanding among the people I've talked to in the industry and around that program is that Texas is going to need a huge push into the tournament. First of all, they have to make the tournament. They're not even assured of that. And then even getting there doesn't look like that'll be enough. Rodney Terry was able to win this job when he was the interim head coach 2 years ago. Got Texas all the way to the Elite Eight. Here it's looking like he's going to need to have another huge March push in order to avoid seeing a job change over there. Chris Del Conte, the athletic director, obviously and rightfully so, sees that job as a gem. By many, it's considered one of the top 10 jobs in the country. They've got a brand new facility, or relatively new. Haven't made a lot of noise with it. Just keep an eye on that. I think there could be some potential change afoot coming later this month. Item 2, also in the SEC, Jackson Robinson for Kentucky. He's out for the rest of the season. His college career is over. He had a wrist injury. He returned in the game against Oklahoma earlier this week for the Wildcats, and then injured it in that game. He didn't play, obviously, on Saturday. Mark Pope confirmed with the media afterward that Robinson is done. I actually think this could potentially make Kentucky an even more ripe victim for an early March Madness upset. Robinson was the second leading scorer for the Wildcats, and he really did offensively. He did a bunch of different stuff for Mark Pope's offense. Not having him, I think, is a pretty big knock overall. And also keep in mind, Mark Pope, for as much as Kentucky's done this year, has almost as many notable top 15 wins as all but a few other teams in the entire sport. Defensively, this team is ranked 66 in the country, and Pope has never won an NCAA tournament game as a coach. Keep that in mind. I got one more for you. It's on the Xavier Musketeers out of the Big East. I actually think the Big East is going to wind up getting 5 teams into March Madness. You've got UConn, which was able to not mess around against Providence on Saturday. We know the likes of St. John's, it's ruling over the Big East. Marquette didn't have any issue with Georgetown. It's well on its way. And Creighton, which is a bit of a mystery team overall, obviously well positioned. I think Xavier's going to get there. Xavier has been able to get hot as of late, 5 in a row. It's a top 10 team overall in three-point accuracy. You can see the resume here entering on Saturday. Keep that in mind. According to the Palm projection, Xavier got the home win against Creighton. I talked to the staff on Friday going into this game. They knew just how significant this matchup was and getting a win was for their overall resume. Now, they could use certainly one more big-time win, and I think they're going to get it in the Big East tournament because they've beaten UConn, they've beaten Marquette, now they've beaten Creighton. They were swept by St. John's. The final 2 games are definitely doable. At Butler, home to Providence. So this is a projection. I expect Xavier to win its next 2, to win its first game in the Big East tournament, and I think if and when that happens, if they can win 3 more in a row, it'll be enough to get them into the field. And the Big East, remember, Jerry, Hakeem, last year, very controversial for Big East folks, only sent 3 to the big dance. They're definitely going to beat that number this year. I think they beat it by 2. I think they wind up with 5.
Jerry, you had Xavier as a last 4 in entering the day. What did that win over Creighton mean in terms of their bubble status?
Well, they were actually the last team in, so obviously, a win over Creighton helps. It's actually a quad 2 win because it was at home and Creighton's not in the top 30 of the net at the moment, but yeah, it's still a quality win. That's an NCAA tournament team. They need that. They need to have as many NCAA tournament quality wins as they can get. They're done with that until the conference tournament. But if they can get 1 more in the conference tournament, I'm with Matt. I think they're going to be on the right end of things. But they have to win all the way through that point.
The March Madness is officially underway. 15 days until Selection Sunday. Jerry Palm, Matt Norlander here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Men, thank you. And coming up on Sunday on CBS, 2 big games in the Big Ten. First at 1:30 Eastern, ranked on ranked, number 11 Wisconsin visiting number 8 Michigan State. Following that game, it's 15th ranked Michigan hosting Illinois. Spartans and Wolverines tied atop the standings in the Big Ten. You can also watch the action streaming live on Paramount Plus and on the CBS Sports app.